Welcome to the Holiday Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Sutherland.
And I am Heather Lundervold, and we are here to help you master the business of Christmas.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Holiday Pros Podcast. And we're excited today to talk about a really hot topic that I know holds a lot of people back, and that is branding, right? We want to look great before we put ourselves out there. And this is an interesting topic. So I'm excited to be here. Heather is joining the show as well. And I mean, obviously, Heather, I'm saying this on our live recording, but we have an intro that explains who we are and people are seeing us all the time. So I'm excited to dig into this.
Yes, we are doing a really good job of showing up every week.
Yes, it's fun.
Yes.
I know there's a lot of people listening on my following that are curious, like they're Christmas curious. If you guys are listening to this and you're Christmas curious, I want you to drop that in the chat because most of the people who follow me this is kind of new. I'm out of the blue. I've been talking about online business and business systems for so long. But this is a viable freedom business and Christmas is definitely a great space to be in. So if you're Christmas curious and you're here for that, drop it in the chat. I'd love to talk to you more about it later. But Heather, why don't you kick it off today and kind of bring us up to speed on the topic of branding?
Okay, so this is the Holiday Pros podcast, and we are mastering the business of Christmas every week. So branding, yes, this is an interesting topic, and I've sort of struggled a little bit through my career in branding because I don't really understand it as much as I should, probably as an entrepreneur. However, I have built a very successful seven-figure business without it. So it's not the end, it's not the end all. You should have it, yes, and it does help, and probably more so today than it was when I started in the year 2000. And we had discussed this where that was the days of the phone book, and it was just different, right? We didn't have AI, we didn't have all these tools that now make our business look so great. But really, at the end of the day, branding is you. It's what you're bringing to the client and what you're providing them as a service. So when you leave that job, that's really your signature style. That's the stamp that you're putting on your company. So yeah, let's dive in and kind of talk about all those things.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true because I mean, think about this day and age. Everybody Googles everything. We look it up on Google. What does Google say? What are their reviews? What have they done? And that's a definitely I guess a feeling of hesitation when somebody's first launching. It's like, well, I don't have any of that. How will people like trust me, right? That trust factor. We just rely on uh, software to trust people. It's kind of interesting. But last week, for those listening who might be just tuning in, last week we did a deep dive into networking. So that is a huge component, for sure, to this whole piece. And Heather, you did a great job of communicating like how powerful networking is and specifically where to go to network to start to build your business. I think for anybody who might just be ready to dive into this, for sure, that's the place to start. But there definitely comes a time where in like looking at your branding and it's time, right? It's time to start thinking and looking at your branding. Not only that, but it's like the most fun part, especially for designers. It's like the visual part of your business. So it's okay to also start with that, but let's talk about what are some of the challenges with branding. What are some of the things that maybe have you seen that have held people back from a branding perspective, that are kind of like things people could avoid?
Right. Well, for me, so my story starts with nothing. Like I didn't even know what I was doing when I first started, right? So that wasn't a thing. I wasn't thinking about branding colors. I wasn't thinking about a branding kit. And so when you talk to a branding coach, sometimes it can be overwhelming because the first conversation is basically, okay, well, how much money do you have to spend? Because I talked to a branding coach that was $15,000, for her to put a kit together. I was like, say what? I mean, like
Yeah.
that was, that was a big chunk of change, I thought, for myself. But there's other people out there that's a drop in the bucket, so it really depends on where you're at. But I think the most important thing is that I built this company without a brand. And so you don't necessarily have to, put $15,000 in out of the gates, right? just start where you feel comfortable and get a coach, get somebody that's within your budget and kind of work through that platform. Score is a great place to start. They have excellent expert branding coaches for free. And I have a branding coach. Actually, we're going to do a session today. And it's great because you can learn from them on where to start. But like you said, there's a certain sort of time that you really want to level up. So maybe it's not right in the beginning of your business, but there does come a time if you want to position yourself as a luxury brand, you do need to show up that way.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. Like, what sets a luxury brand apart from, say, a non-luxury brand? I don't know exactly in the space of the design world. What are some things that people, because like the clientele, they can tell. So what are those telling factors for them? Do you know? Like, how would somebody know that?
Well, it depends on where they're finding you, right? So if it's a referral source, they're just going to trust the process of their friend or their, whomever referred you to them, right? So right off the bat, they're not really, you've already kind of accomplished that trust factor. But if they're finding you online, that's different, right? They don't know you, and all they're looking at is maybe your social media. So the way you want to show up is, a very clear message. And it's not, oh, we do everything, right? You want to kind of hone in on what you do. Are you a resort specialist? Are you a luxury home specialist? What do you do and what do you want the public and everybody to know that you do best? Now, on the offshoot of it, you can do everything. You can, right? Like if you are a luxury designer, you can certainly do just a 9 foot regular tree, right? But you don't have to promote that. So you want to position yourself as a luxury brand, and that's your message. So it's clear messaging for one, and then curate your portfolio. This is a huge thing in the academy with my students. They're so worried because they don't have a portfolio. But the good news is we have solved that problem. And also, as a luxury designer, you're not posting everything, right? You want to post your best work, but you also want to do transitions. So you want to post before and after transitions. You want to promote your signature style. What are you known for? Is that awesome ribbon work that you do? Or, what is it that really makes you stand out from the crowd? And then pricing confidence. So when somebody calls, you're not ho humming around, well, I think I'll just charge you, this much. That's not the conversations I have. I know my pricing, I know my worth, and if they don't want to pay it, I'm okay with that. So I don't discount my pricing. I don't do things like that. I'm very firm in what I charge, and that is a luxury brand.
You said so much. I want to unpack this deeper because there's so many good nuggets of wisdom there, but like in a fast way. So, for example, I love how you said the pricing confidence and positioning yourself that way. I want to tap into that more too. But from the beginning, what you were talking about there, we call it in the marketing world a unique selling proposition. And I wanted to elaborate a little bit on that because I've helped a lot of businesses grow from a marketing perspective. And I talk to a lot of business owners. And I want to tell you guys, here's what I hear that is doesn't feel vanilla, but actually comes across vanilla. Okay. So, for example, just speaking as though I'm the business owner. So I specialize in luxury, custom home, unique. You can't find it anywhere else. Uh, Work, right? Luxury work. We are top of the line. Our attention to detail is second to none. These are some of the things that I hear business owners say that sounds very unique, right? The unique selling proposition. But the fact of the matter is, it's not unique. It is vanilla because everybody else in your space is saying the same thing. And so the question becomes
Right.
what genuinely sets you apart? And so this is actually quite a little bit more challenging, but it's so important to spend some time on this because ultimately, at the end of the day, when you nail this, and it does sometimes take some trial and error, like you test it on the market, but when you know what is working, it's like it's almost as though you're attracting buyers to you it's like, what am I trying to say? Like they just like fish jumping in your boat, essentially, versus you having to go fish.
Fishing.
Yeah, exactly. It's so much better when you have it just honed in. And so it's definitely a good idea to do some market research, look at your competition, see what they're doing, see what they're saying, and then your unique selling proposition could be something so simple. I think that's the piece that I find so fascinating. I truly enjoy marketing. I think to me, it's like the psychology of humans. I just truly enjoy studying that. And that's what I find so fascinating. Like, so for example, let's talk about Domino's Pizza. This is just a perfect example. When they launched, their pizza was no better than anybody else. It was literally cheese and meat on bread, like just like every other pizza. And they could have come out and said something like, well, we're hotter, we're fresher, we're this. Their unique selling proposition was, we will deliver it in 30 minutes or it's free. That was it. They were able to execute in a different way than other pizza joints. And that's truly what set them off and made them stand out in the crowd. Their pizza could have been worse than everybody else, but they sold more because people were like, ooh, I have the chance of getting it free if they don't get here on time. Like there was just like an adventure about it. So that's an example of how like you can be delivering your amazing service, but how you position yourself in the marketplace is what stands you out as your unique selling proposition. That's what I'm talking about. It's not what you do or even how you do it necessarily. It could be, but it's not necessarily. Um, but it could even be just the way you deliver it. For example, all of our installs are done by October 15th. Like maybe that's something special for you. Or maybe you specialize in the Airbnb world and you're going to niche it down by location. Like there's so many ways to slice and dice it. But the key here is to make yourself memorable in a way that your competition is not doing it. That's what a unique selling proposition is.
Right. That's super important. And also, once you become established, your clientele will start telling other people just that very fact, right? We don't have to skywrite it. And I know this because this is what my company has lived. I still to this day do not have a website for my design firm. And I haven't had to. And in fact, I'll tell this story really quick because I think people are fascinated by this. So, Channel 12, the news station, they came to me one year and said, we want to do a story on holiday decorating and we want to feature you. And I said, no. Who turns down the media, right? I do. Because I knew that I would not be able to handle the workload if I went on television. I was already 100% booked, right? I didn't have the bandwidth to take on any more clients. That would have been bad for me. Yes. Would I have gotten publicity? Yes. Would people know about my company? Yes. But then as a default, they would have called and said,
Mhm.
hey, can you do our tree? Or, we'd like to hire you. And then what do I say? Sorry, I can't help you. That is not productive and that is not a good message for my brand, right? And so I knew at that point in time that the media was not a good fit for me because I didn't have the bandwidth to scale at that time.
Mhm.
Now, fast forward a couple years later, actually it was during COVID. So COVID naturally, we had some extra spots people had canceled, so I called Channel 12 and I said, I'm ready to do a story and we can do it at the Wigwam Resort because guess what? No one's going to be there.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was perfect, right? So the Wigwam got publicity. It was during COVID. Everybody was locked down. I mean, it was a perfect time. And I knew that a lot of people weren't going to be calling me because it was COVID.
Yeah.
And so that was the perfect thing. But that's another thing you have to think about is not only your upfront branding, but then what message are you sending to people if you are branding and you have this, luxury, everything out there on social media kind of thing. Can you handle the business that's going to come your way?
Mhm.
Scaling that's another animal. So
It's
there's
true.
there's several things to branding, based on where you are in your business.
Yeah, and it really does. What's nice in the beginning for anybody listening who's just thinking of getting into it, I know we're covering a lot of ground, but really in the beginning, your biggest thing should be just focusing on a narrow scope. I always think of Amazon. When Amazon got started, it was just the books. They were just a bookstore, an online bookstore. And look at them now. Like, obviously, that's a huge
Right.
example. But what they did is they focused in on one thing, solved one problem. Actually, if I could say a USP should solve a problem, I was thinking as you were talking, I was like, I wonder what in the luxury home space is an example. So, for example, I was working with a pressure washing company on their branding and their messaging, and the problem is pressure washing is very competitive, and they wanted to go after restaurants, which it's not more lucrative, but it's just consistent work, which is nicer for them. And here's the thing we talked about when I asked them, I said, what's one of the biggest problems you solve? And one of the biggest problems was other pressure washing companies don't show up reliably. That's a huge problem in the industry. They say they'll be there, they kind of come when they want, or sometimes they don't show up at all. And for restaurants, that could be very important because they might be getting graded that day or the next day, right? They get graded on their cleanliness. So their USP became, we will be there, rain or shine. Like, we're reliable. And that was the whole thing because they found out what is the problem in the industry and they solved it. So it wasn't that they pressure washed any better than anybody else. They just would show up on time, right? So I was curious, like thinking of the luxury home space, what is something that that clientele maybe would be annoyed by other people in the industry that people could walk in and say, this is how I'm going to solve this problem before you even, because it's just one of those unwritten or unsaid things. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I know I'm totally putting you on the spot. So if something doesn't come to your mind, but that's essentially how to solve the USP problem.
Wow. I can't imagine running a company and not showing up for my client.
I
Like
know,
that
right? That blew me
absolutely
away too.
blows my mind. I mean, wow. Okay. So for one, that even exists in that industry is interesting enough. I wouldn't say I've had any, well, I've been kind of a lone wolf in this industry, for most of my career, but I would say on a designer scale that we don't really, that's not a thing, in our industry. I think that we're pretty loyal to our clients, and
Sure.
and we
Yeah.
position ourselves as a luxury design. I think from experience, if I had to pull something out of the hat, one of the things that I have not been the best at in the years is the training of my designers, right? So it's the expectation that when we show up, there has been a few times where my clients have said, hey, it kind of seems like you're training on the job. Well, you're right, because
Yeah.
because I for me in my industry, there is no training. And so when somebody would come on to my design team brand new right away in the season, I didn't have enough time to train them. And this was before my school was established, right? So there was no place to send somebody to train. There was no school, there was no training. I was it. So now I have another hat to wear. Now I have to train the people because I'm trying to scale. And so I thought initially, well, the best way to train somebody is to have them be on the job, and have them
Hmm.
watch and learn and see what we're doing. But I quickly learned that you can't do that. My luxury clients are expecting a luxury install. They're expecting my designers to show up and know what they're doing and get that job done in a timely manner. They don't want to see me teaching somebody how to do a bow on their time, right? No, 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 no. And so, as a business owner, we all go through those learning curves and those pain points, and sometimes they're unavoidable, and you learn from them, and you just do the best you can. And
What's so
I think
cool about how you learned from it is then you developed the Christmas Design Institute. I think that is the most brilliant problem-solving solution I've ever seen. Seriously. I mean, you saw the problem, you listened to your clients, you said, "What do I need to do to fix it?" Okay, I'm making this and it's evolved into this academy. And also, just dawns on me as we're talking about that, that also turns into a unique selling proposition for the students because they can come out of the academy and say, I'm a certified Christmas Design Institute installer. They're they already have elevated themselves into brand level that says I'm certified by the Christmas Design Institute. I mean, how many other people in the industry are going to be able to say that? Especially because there's such a gap in this industry right now, like what we talked about last week.
Right. Yeah, it is really a huge problem. In fact, I talked to somebody this morning about her business, and this is the very topic that this is her pain point. I don't know how to scale. I don't know how to clone myself. I can't get out of the installs because I don't trust enough people to be able to hand over my clients. I'm not sure they're going to do the right thing or do the same job, or it is really a problem because her pain point is she doesn't have anybody to she doesn't have a place to send somebody to train other, now she does for Christmas Design Institute, but a lot of people don't know that the school exists. So that is a huge pain point for them. So they're continuing to be staying small because they can't get people that are trained. It's not like we have a college course or a college curriculum where they're coming out of college like an interior designer
Yeah,
and they're out there searching for a holiday design job. That does not exist yet.
right.
It will though. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
got
And it would
I've got
already,
some
and it's
testing.
already like elevating. And plus, something else Heather alluded to early on in the conversation is when you are a part of the Christmas Design Institute and you leverage Biz in a Box Solutions, which is our tech support program, um, we also have something for you. It is a PDF that you can take with you that sets you apart in the industry. It shows that you have the Christmas insider knowledge that's necessary to basically show them that you are capable and ready to do this. So that's something else that we've done because we saw this as an issue and we wanted to support all of the students and make sure that this is like an easy step into this. So that's really the beauty of what we're doing here between you and I and our partnership with the business solutions, Christmas design. You're handling the decorating, the teaching of the business, the mastering the business of Christmas. We come in with the systems and the support to kind of like make it all smooth. You don't have to start from scratch, invent the wheel. It's all invented. Just roll the wheel.
Right. Plug and play. That's the motto now. Plug and play.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I know it is so exciting what you have developed for my students. And I I wish I had all of this stuff back in the day, but I didn't, and I still survived.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
now it's just going to be easier for anyone that's coming on board now. And I'm so excited for the next generation of designers, and I'm all over it. Like I'm going to be very influential in these students that are now, in college, and I just can't wait.
I love it. Yeah. So you mentioned something else about positioning as a luxury designer. So we did talk about that and that confidence in the pricing, which I think I agree with you because even, in any business, if you're just confidence can almost like it's not so much about branding, but it is definitely about selling, which is sort of a different conversation, but they do go together. When you are confident in what you're doing or you are confident in your process, that's the part that I think I would break it down even further. Because in the beginning, and I'm just thinking about myself, and if I was to do this, actually, full transparency, I'm looking at starting a Christmas installation business here with my son. And I was thinking, like, my very first thought was like, how would I price it? Like, that was literally my first thought. And even if I had a gist of it, there's going to be times where you walk in and there's an anomaly, right? These people want something done that I didn't think about, or I was prepared for this, but then they pivot and go this way. And I didn't have my notes, or I didn't know. I got to go back to my drawing board. I would say that's the beauty of what you've got is that you help them design their pricing, you help them have that confidence when they're walking into these situations, and then showing them the process of saying, okay, after that process has happened or you're not sure, you can come back and reevaluate your proposal. I'll resend you a proposal or update the proposal. We have all of that built out so that you can have that pricing confidence. And I think that was important to add because when you were talking about that as an important piece of it, I just thought, well, maybe people might be wondering about that. So,
Right. Yeah. Biz in a Box is absolutely amazing with, again, all the things that I wish that I had. And a lot of my students do have that issue with confidence. So our goal is to help people navigate through that quickly, right? Let's get over that. And I think you had a conversation with one of the students not long ago. She was kind of questioning, should I be doing this? And you had to give her a little bit of a coaching session because it is scary sometimes. And as CEOs and business owners, we wear all the hats. So they're not coming in just as a designer. They're coming in and having to facilitate writing proposals and all the things that go along. Then you have to hire people. Like there's so many hats to wear and there's so many things to learn. But we're here to support that journey, and it doesn't have to be hard. It was hard
Yeah,
for me, but I've everything that I'm learning and extracting out of my brain and putting into the academy, it's just a much easier process for people. But it doesn't necessarily say that you have to be alone in this journey anymore. So we're
true.
here to
That's
support
the
that.
best part. But starting a business, there's so many moving pieces. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. And I think that's, you know, one of the hugest pain points that is resolved here is because you don't have to feel that way. Like everything is laid out for you. You know what to do. You go through the steps. You're going to meet with Heather. You might meet with myself, and we walk through the process and guide you along the way. So it's super simple. Wouldn't say it's easy, but it is simple because everything definitely has like nothing's ever anything easy in life isn't worth having anyway, right? Like that's
Right.
the way I see it. Okay, I just want
We
to wrap
are,
up with one more thing, because look, I was just realizing the time, and I feel like we could talk about this forever. You and I, we love it so
we
much.
do.
Um, One other thing I wanted to add that does come with Biz in a Box from a branding perspective that people might like to know about is we have pre-built website templates. We have pre-built social media stuff going on. Like there is some assets there that can help you hit the ground running because the idea of building a website can feel overwhelming. Just literally, we have them there for you to use and change some words around, and you're already established. There's working on putting together a logo package to help you guys out. So you have that. So there are these things because we do realize, even though you can build it without that, it also does help you have the confidence when you have a business card with your name and logo on it and your branding colors, and you feel good about yourself. You walk into that networking meeting with just a little bit of your chin up, and that just alone can make a big difference. So those are the things that are established there for you. And we can certainly talk through that if you want to book a demo or head over to the Christmas Design Institute and get started in the academy. That would be the best place to go.
Right. We have a full designer toolkit that is offered to the students. And so it's really a plug and play system. It's really awesome. And also, if you have more questions, you can book a consult with me. There's a booking link on my website, right on the homepage there. So if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you. Just book a slot with me. And yeah, it's really a fun space.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Same time, same bad channel.
That's right. See you next time. It's time to wrap this up and tie it with a bow. You're listening to the Holiday Pros podcast. We're helping you master the business of Christmas.
And if you're liking what you hear, my friends, please subscribe to the show wherever you're listening and be sure to tune in next week. Until then, visit the ChristmasDesignInstitute.com if you're ready to launch your Christmas business.